Today on Teach Me How to Vegan. So that's the way we budget, high level overview of how we budget and what we do. So we're sitting traditionally about $4.50 a month. So what do we eat?
Yeah, so what are we eating for this food budget? Well, we're going to share at least 15, if not more, cheap and easy meals, $5 or less.
$5 or less.
These meals
are pretty much staples in our house.
Are staples. They feed our family of 4 for $5 or less.
Welcome to Teach Me How to Vegan,
a podcast where we explore how to switch to a vegan diet.
I'm Tony, a health educator, fitness instructor, and plant-based eating program manager for Animal Protection of New Mexico.
I'm Mickey, a stay-at-home homeschooling mom and vegan cook who likes to play in the kitchen.
Our family stopped eating meat in 2007.
And we went vegan in 2016. Now we like to share with others what we've learned.
Thanks for joining us.
Let's get started.
So this is Vegan on a Budget. This is going to be part 1 of a
2-part series.
Possibly more if we have more topics to talk about budgeting. This one we're going to focus on our budgeting tips and how we do our food budget, and then talk about the meals that some of our go-to meals, cheap and easy meals, feed a family of 4 for $5 or less.
Yep.
And kind of share what our favorite ones are, our go-to ones. All the recipes that we share are going to be linked in the show notes. All the products that we share, same thing. We're going to link all of that. And then in part 2, we'll get more in-depth into shopping, storage, food prepping, those kind of tips, right?
Yep.
So let's get into it. Budgeting is your forte.
It's
one of your superpowers, I think.
It's kind of one of the things I do pretty well.
Yeah. You don't have traditional training in it or anything like that, but
all self-taught.
But a lot of our friends reach out to you for help and guidance. And
yeah. I don't remember exactly how I got into it. I think just, figuring out money. You mess up when you're young. But then you learn about sort of the main people. Dave Ramsey's is one of them with the budgeting stuff. And once you sort of go into that rabbit hole of budgeting, you find all sorts of other people. And so I really enjoy it.
I know, in a weird way.
In a weird way, I do.
Well, and this is one of our favorite things to talk about, just because of the myth that being vegan is too expensive.
Right.
Or that if you don't have a certain income or certain resources, then you can't go vegan.
Right. Correct. And it's not. We are a 1-income family, and we live in the poorest state in the nation right now. And we do it, and we do it well. We're actually fully vegan, including not just our food.
Yeah. So what we're going to present today is a couple easy tips for budgeting.
Yeah.
A few strategies that you can apply today without getting into the weeds of all of your budgeting, just something that you can do for your food budget specifically.
Sure. So one of the things I like to tell people to start with is to print your last month and previous month's bank statements, and then take different color highlighters and take a highlighter for food. We're just going to talk about food. So take a highlighter and highlight everything that's food, whether it was eating out, groceries, even if I know sometimes it's hard to tell, if you go to Target or Walmart where they have all sorts of products, but if you got some food from there and you did, highlight it and then add that all up. So you really see how much you're spending on food, including eating out.
That can be an eye-opener.
It's such an eye-opener.
It was for us.
Yeah. Anybody that has come to me and asked me to help them, I always start with that. And it really, really does open your eyes, because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm spending $1,000 a month on food. Or, it's usually far more than you think it is. So start with that, and then figure out what you think is a reasonable amount for yourself and your family for however often you get paid. So if you get paid weekly, just do a food budget for that 1 week till next payday. If you get paid bi-weekly, go the 2 weeks. If you get paid monthly, do the monthly. I know it sounds crazy, but I actually loved when you got paid once a month.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
I used to get paid once a month, and people think that must be so hard for you.
It was the easiest.
It actually really was, because all your monthly, all your bills come monthly.
Monthly.
So it made way
Yep.
more sense, and it was so much easier to budget.
Yeah, I loved it. Just pay everything, and whatever's left is what we have left. And
Yeah.
then our food budget is this, and when it's gone, it's gone.
'Cause
And
now we have to do this juggle of which paycheck does the mortgage come out of?
Yeah.
Which paycheck does the electricity bill come out of? And like all this.
yeah, that was a lot of fun switching back to that. Not really. I hope you can hear the sarcasm in that.
Yeah.
So do that. And so for us, Tony now gets paid every 2 weeks, and we do between $400 and $450 for the month. So
Well, for the 4 weeks.
for the 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 4 weeks. So that's roughly $200 to $225 every 2 weeks.
Right.
That usually works for our family. During this pandemic, it's been more. As I'm sure a lot of people have spent more on their food. I mean, like gas plummeted, but I think everybody sort of shifted their gas budget into their food budget.
So we did.
And that has been working for our family of 4, family of 5 when you include our fur baby, because we make his food as well. Maybe we'll do a thing about pets because people really get into the pet business, but we did tons of research. He gets all the nutrients. We have vitamins for him. We got it.
Right.
It's okay. But that does include food for our fur baby also. Then we also have a category that we call other, and I do $100 every pay period. So every 2 weeks for that other. So roughly $200 for the 4 weeks. And in other, so when I say food, I only mean food. Some people put their household consumables in food, and I don't. I want all of that to be food.
It's anything we eat.
Anything we eat.
consume that's not medicine.
Right. And so everything else, like hygiene products or, hand soap, wax paper for whatever, even if we need copy paper for the printer, all of that stuff is in other, because I am at a point where I can handle that. I can do that. Before I might have needed, I needed one for the household and one for homeschool and one for hygiene. Sometimes people need that breakdown, and sometimes that's too much.
Yeah. And I like this so much better because we used to do all that breakdown, and this is just so mindless, and it's easy to just go on autopilot.
Yes.
When it's like food, other, gas.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. So anything you purchase comes out of one of those 3 categories.
Yeah.
And we're only doing it every 2 weeks.
Right.
So you only have to forecast 2 weeks.
2
ahead.
weeks. And
What do you need for 2 weeks?
And
Is there
that
an event?
feels
Is there...
so much more manageable. And it's really nice to have that other category and not have everything spent in it when you're coming into the 2 weeks, because sometimes there's a random, birthday party, a kid's birthday party that you forgot about, or you suddenly got invited to, or they decided to throw something together, and you can go to the store, you got your other budget, and you take that gift out of other, and it's already budgeted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a surprise. So that's how we do it.
Yeah.
And we sort of went up to this because I've been budgeting for so long. Sometimes when you're starting out, you really do want to look at like, oh gosh, I'm spending a lot of money on like hygiene because maybe, you include a lot of makeup or hair product or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, I do want to... Oh, you go.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I do want to add our food budget includes eating out.
Yes.
Some people separate that, and they think food budget just means groceries that you buy at the grocery store. But then if you eat out 3 times a week...
Yeah.
You got to look at it all in perspective.
Yes.
So because the more you eat out, the less groceries you use. The more groceries you buy, the less you eat out, kind of thing. So you have to...
Yeah.
We think that you have to include it all together.
Yes. And I think with grocery budgeting, sometimes there's the way you want to eat, and then there's the way you do eat.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes like we go to the grocery store and we're like super motivated to eat whole foods, and so we buy all this produce and we buy ingredients so that we can make homemade meals. And then 4 days later, it's been a crazy week. We're exhausted and we don't want to make anything. We don't want to make ingredients. So we still strike a balance between having ingredients and having like prepackaged foods like
heat and serve
yeah,
stuff.
like vegan chicken nuggets.
Right.
That's go-to for us. And so definitely be realistic in how you eat so that you can create a realistic budget around it. Because of course, when we buy more of the prepackaged foods like the nugs or patties, chicken patties, or
Cutlets,
burger buns, or the Gardein products and Morningstar and stuff like that, when we buy more of that, we go up to our limit really quickly. So it's important to really look at truly what you're eating, or to just try to prepare yourself for those days where you are absolutely exhausted and you don't want to make anything, but you want to choose to eat at home. So set yourself up for success in that.
Besides for our monthly bills, like we pay all our bills, and then we have the expenses that we, things we need to purchase throughout those 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we drop all of them into one of 3 categories: food, gas, and other.
When we were out and about in the world and homeschooling and doing co-ops and stuff like that, I had what I called a homeschool budget, and it was roughly like $20 or $25 just so I had a little bit of an option each pay period in case there's this field trip we have to register for.
Yeah.
I have it all ready to go.
Right. So you just need to think about what things do you need to spend money on
Right.
after your bills are paid for those 2 weeks or 1 week or month or whatever it is. Drop them into as few categories as you can.
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest way once you get a hang of it.
Yeah.
So because the beauty of it is we go and we do our grocery shopping, we spend all of our food money, and then
we're set for 2 weeks.
we're set. But the beauty is we have that other in case. So if things don't come up and we decide we want to, because that happens sometimes, we're we're getting towards the end of the 2 weeks. We have a little bit left in other. We don't have anything coming up. We can use it to eat out.
Right.
If we want to.
Right.
We could treat ourselves to that. Or we can go grab some Beyond Burgers to cook at home.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have any of that.
Yeah. Well, the infamous one was that one day where everything was spent in food, everything was spent in other, but we hadn't used any of the gas money yet. We were like, let's go get Burger King because I don't want to cook. And it was like almost down to the exact penny amount that was left in gas.
I think you had like $4 left in homeschool.
Yeah.
And we just pulled it all together and it equaled the exact amount we needed.
Yeah.
To go get burgers.
So, I mean, you could do that, or, when that's left over, you could put that in savings or paying down debt. So part of the budgeting part is for us to work on having a savings and to pay down some debt, and we've been pretty successful at this. This has worked for a long time for us, and it's manageable and sustainable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, of course, as our kids get older, our food budget is going to have to change.
Yeah, we do talk about that because right now, Constantine is 13, Fortune's 8, and they both eat about the same amount of food that we do.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah. Yeah. Fortune sometimes eats more than me, and I'm like, good gosh.
And on some days, Constantine will surprise us and eat just as much food as we do and then eat 3 oranges after.
Yeah.
Immediately after. And we're like, okay. We think about the meals we make right now for the 4 of us and how we're going to have to plump them up as the kids grow so that we have enough food for them. So that is something to think about too. How old are your kids and kind of how active are they?
Right. Because Constantine at one point was out of the house 3 nights a week. Doing very active activities, dance and karate. So anyways, so that's the way we budget, high level overview of how we budget and what we do. So we're sitting traditionally about $450 a month. With the pandemic, we're easily at least up to $500 a month because let's be real.
Yeah. And that is because we're doing a little more convenience foods these days. We're filling lots of feelings and you know so we find ourselves reaching for those convenience foods a little more than the cheap plant-based staples and we're genuinely wanting to support local restaurants. So we're
especially ones with vegan options,
trying to eat out at the vegan places. And so that's putting a dent in the budget. Yeah. And it helps with, our emotions and our exhaustion. So it's kind of like we say a win for everyone. Yeah. Right. So we are going, a little over that right now.
But reining it back in and getting back to our $400 to $450 a month.
Right.
So what do we eat?
Yeah. So what are we eating for this food budget? Well, we're going to share at least 15, if not more, cheap and easy meals, $5 or less.
$5 or less.
These meals
are pretty much staples in our house.
are staples. They feed our family of 4 for $5 or less.
So for breakfast, what we actually just had this morning was oats. And we like to eat raw oats with like raisins and a nut and a little bit of maple syrup, maybe some cinnamon and plant-based milk. And it's really, really good. I was surprised. It always looked so good whenever I would see it on Instagram, and Tony wasn't convinced. And then we tried it, and like everybody eat, like the boys especially, you and the boys eat it a lot.
Yeah, you don't have to cook your oats to make oatmeal. You don't have to soak them overnight. You can just pour them in a bowl and eat them.
Eat them, yeah.
And I love them that way. They're really good. So we just buy rolled oats. We get organic rolled oats
in bulk.
From Sprouts. Whenever they go on sale in bulk, we buy a lot, and that way they're super cheap. They go down to like 89 cents a pound.
Yeah. And when it's like that, I try to stock up with the food budget. So I grew up in Miami, having to live with hurricanes and being prepared for hurricanes. And so I like to try to keep a little stock of food in our pantry, and just in case. And when the pandemic hit and shelves started emptying, that came in really handy. And so we're even able to do that with our budget.
It helps us now because we might spend $12 of our budget on, or we might spend $10 of our budget on rolled oats, but we bring home 12 pounds of rolled oats, and that lasts us
a long time. Yeah. And I mean, there's all sorts of ways to store like these bulk items so that, you know, if you don't have a container that can hold all 12 of them, all 12 pounds, there's ways to store it so that your food stays fresh and doesn't go bad.
Yeah.
So we're not wasting food either.
Yeah,
but we do go through oats pretty quickly.
We do. And we'll actually talk about that in part 2 of this vegan on a budget. This is a 2-part. We're going to do part 2 and talk about shopping and food storage and
okay, great. So
tips.
So for the oatmeal, we buy the oats and we get rolled oats, mainly organic rolled oats. And you can have just oats in a bowl with some fruit and nuts and plant-based milk. You can make your overnight oats, which goes in the fridge. And that's really good. And that kind of like the oats soak up the milk and stuff. And then, of course, you can make your traditional hot oatmeal.
Right.
So, and then we also get the steel cut oats too, especially in the winter. I really like porridge in the winter.
Yeah. In the Instant Pot.
In the Instant Pot, it makes it really easy.
So oats are super cheap.
And oats are cheap, yeah, especially if you get them on sale. And then, of course, cereal with almond milk or other plant-based milk. And we tend to you can get them on sale in most stores. Tony loves the Silk brand. The Silk soy milk is his favorite.
Yes.
And for us locally, the cheapest place to get it is Walmart, and our closest grocery store to us is a neighborhood marketplace. And so that's where we primarily get it. But Costco is another place that we get soy milk there. They have their Kirkland brand soy milk. Right now they're only carrying the vanilla. They used to have a plain. But they're only carrying the vanilla. But they have like 2 different kinds of almond milk. They sometimes have 2 different kinds of coconut milk, not just the canned coconut, but like the container coconut milk. And then sometimes the Dollar Tree will even have soy milks there, we've noticed. So, and then smoothies is another breakfast thing that we do a lot, especially in the summer.
Yeah.
So it's like oats in the winter because they're warm and filling, and then smoothies in the summer because they're cooling. And then smoothies too, like when we had to run out the door to Co-op in the morning, like everybody got a smoothie, drink it in the car.
It's when you need to get out of the house
pretty quickly
type of thing.
Yeah. So that could be a good one, for school.
Yeah. And in our smoothies, we use rolled oats.
Yep.
We usually put some flaxseed in there. I like to put ground flaxseed in my raw oats too. And then just a frozen fruit and some greens.
Yeah.
And all of those you can buy in bulk, or we usually get the frozen fruit at Costco.
Yep.
And the greens and they can all be, the greens can be frozen. So
Yeah.
again, another one when it goes on sale.
Yep.
So that's why it's cheap, because you can get everything kind of in bulk. You can store it for a long time. So all of your ingredients are really cheap.
And they can last.
They can last, and then it makes a cheap meal.
Yep.
And you can even make it, you can use a plant-based milk in your smoothie, or you can not use plant-based milk. You can use water,
Yeah.
which I hate because I like my smoothies creamy. I'm a smoothie snob. Like I'm a soy milk snob.
He is
too.
a soy milk snob. Yes.
It's like everything has to be creamy enough. But I figured out a way to make a creamy smoothie without milk. It makes it a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Yep.
And what I do is I just put water with the rolled oats, chia seeds, and flax seeds, soak it overnight, and then blend it together in the morning, and it gets a creamy consistency.
Yeah.
Then you add your frozen fruit and your greens, and then you have an acceptable smoothie without milk. That's super cheap. So
Yeah.
just like a side note, to bring the cost down, some people want to limit their plant-based milks just because of, added ingredients, or you're on a whole food diet or something like that.
Yeah.
So
this is a really good way to get that creaminess.
yeah, without that.
Yep.
So another breakfast that's cheap and easy is biscuits and gravy. Now we make our biscuits from scratch.
Yep.
And that's what drives the cost down. We make the gravy from scratch, and it sounds kind of intimidating at first, but
Get it down. It's
really
it's manageable. It really is. And I think Bisquick mix is accidentally vegan.
It is.
So you mix it with vegan ingredients, and even that would still be under $5 if you use Bisquick mix to make biscuits.
Right.
So
I'm also a bread snob.
yeah. Well, once I started making homemade biscuits, there was kind of no going back with any of you.
There's not. And then we found my favorite kind of flour.
Flour, yeah. Oh my
that
gosh.
Arrowhead Mills organic something. I don't know. It's now I don't want any kind of flour except that.
Oh my gosh. When it was out for a while, I was like, I'm glad I had some in the pantry already, because flours were wiped from the shelf and they were gone for a while. But it was also one of the first ones that came back. So we were like, okay, get some more.
I was really scared.
You were.
Because it makes the best biscuits and the best gravy and the best
pancakes,
everything.
Yep.
So we like to make biscuits and gravy. And when we're feeling ambitious, sometimes we'll make a homemade sausage.
Yeah.
From rolled oats. And it's basically rolled oats and
spices.
Spices. And it's
and
magic.
Broth. I know, it's incredible.
It's magic, and it usually falls apart for us. The recipe says you can make it into patties.
We have not been able to figure that out yet.
Got that down, but it falls apart and it makes like a sausage crumble, which is perfect for gravy.
Yep.
To throw in your gravy.
And
so we like it. We're into it.
It adds so much.
And the boys are super into it. And
Yep.
it is, again, it's oats and seasonings. It is so cheap to make. The recipe is literally called Poor Man's Sausage.
Yes. It's like, I think it's dug up from the Great Depression or something.
So super cheap and easy. Lunches, some just like quick and easy lunch ideas. Sandwiches are, people think like, if you're vegan, what kind of sandwich do you make? We like to just throw a bunch of veggies in a sandwich.
Yep.
Like a sub sandwich without the meat and cheese. It's still a very hearty sandwich.
And
right?
then you can add hummus to that, or even avocado to that, and it's still very hearty. Of course, peanut butter and jelly.
Right.
That old elementary school favorite. And we like peanut butter and banana a lot. And we learned about that, I think, before we went vegan. And so we would do peanut butter and banana and drizzle a little bit of honey on it. And so now we sometimes drizzle a little agave, and it hits the spot. And then, of course, Tofurkey has deli slices and stuff.
And those, I think, are highly underrated.
I think they are, too. I really
We
like
are
them.
super into the Tofurkey deli slices, and so is Constantine.
Yep.
Big fan.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Fortune's not a huge fan of them.
He's over them for now, but I think I've depended on them a little too much because we were out of the house. Yeah.
But it kind of works for us now because he really likes peanut butter and bananas. So we can.
The three of us can split the tofu.
His extra slices that would have gone in his sandwich. So everybody's happy.
Yeah. And then chickpea smash or chickpea salad is a good one that goes on sandwiches also. So... and that one's pretty inexpensive. as well.
So
And some more lunches.
pasta and marinara sauce with steamed veggies.
Mm-hmm.
You can bulk up your pasta sauce with lentils.
Yes. Both green and red lentils. But pro tip, cook them separate from your marinara sauce.
Okay.
Because sometimes I think the acid in the the pasta sauce, they don't cook right. So cook them separate, but then you can add them.
And then add them to the sauce.
And it'll bulk it up.
Really, yeah. It adds a lot. And it adds, the nutrition, sustenance, it's filling, and it's cheap. Lentils are super cheap.
Yeah.
And then also, bean burritos. You can throw some grilled veggies in there, some chili. Sometimes we just make giant burritos with rice in them. Or like beans and calabasitas in there. We like to air fry the burritos.
Oh my gosh, so they're chimichangas. Oh my gosh, they're so good.
They're so good. They're so filling, and it's so cheap because it's just beans and veggies.
Yep.
Wrapped in a tortilla.
Yeah, totally. So for some dinner ideas, of course, lunch and dinner can be interchangeable. Heck, even breakfast.
Right.
Why not?
We do that all the time.
Yeah, sometimes breakfast for dinner. But of course, so I don't know how to specify that this is. So it's going to be chili stew, but it's the veggies and tomatoes and beans, that kind of chili, not the New Mexican green chili stew. Mm-hmm. But you can do green chili stew also.
Like what you're saying with this chili stew is like a Tex-Mex.
Yeah, like Tex-Mex or a Southern chili stew.
And that's been one of our go-to cheap meals for a long time.
Yeah. Yep.
Because you just get a can of pinto beans, a can of black beans, a can of red beans.
Yeah.
A can of green chili, can of tomatoes,
yeah,
can of mixed veggies.
And a potato.
And throw it all in a pot and you have dinner.
Yeah.
And it's like you can feed an army.
Yeah, you add a little tomato sauce if you want, or some broth, seasoning, and let it simmer, you're good to go.
And it's a giant pot of
stew.
It's giant pot of stew.
$5. Yep. Yeah, it's good. If you need a little cornbread on the side, so, a little more than $5 maybe. $5.50 or something.
Another go-to meal is just beans and rice.
Mm-hmm.
And so many different variations. We do pinto beans and Spanish rice, red beans and brown rice, black beans and yellow rice.
Mm-hmm. Black Cuban beans and rice, arroz con gandules.
That's on here too.
Yep.
Yeah. So many different variations, and just beans and rice with a vegetable or something else.
Yeah, sometimes
one more side.
Yeah.
That's kind of just rounds out the meal for us.
Yeah.
Usually.
And a lot of times we'll do with red beans and rice or black beans and rice, I'll put it's just green beans, a can of green beans or some steamed broccoli or salad if we have the salad fixins. I mean, just you can get really simple peas if peas and carrots, just get simple with it.
And another one that's surprisingly cheap and amazing and not that hard to make is sushi or sushi bowls.
Yeah. Yep. It's really, because when you're veganizing it, it's really cheap. Because what's expensive about sushi? The sushi. The fish part is the expensive part. So sushi is really simple when it's vegan. It's, what is it? It's rice, avocado, cucumber, carrot, sweet potato, whatever other veggies you want to throw in it. And then you roll it up and you cut it up and it's really, really good.
Yeah. And the seaweed wrap, the nori sheet or the whatever seaweed wrap you're using is what adds the flavor.
Right.
For me, I don't think you don't need the fish. The seaweed wrap is going to give it that flavor.
Just a little bit of
flavor.
Yep. Just a little bit of rice vinegar with the rice sort of bumps it up a little bit. And then after that, you're good with, whatever dipping sauce you want to use.
Put a little sauce in. It's really good. And I was really surprised at how not difficult it is.
And then if you're intimidated with the rolling part, just throw it all in a bowl and you can just get those little packs of seaweed snacks and you're done. You got it.
And just eat it together like that.
And eat it together like that. And that's what a sushi bowl is. And then curry with rice, one of your favorites. Tony really, really likes curry, and that is really easy to make it cheap and inexpensive. You can do just a vegetable curry. You can add chickpeas or tofu, and it's really, really good to go. And then just pour it on some rice, and that helps bulk it up. Sometimes we like to make a coconut sweet rice to put our curry on, and that's really delicious also.
Yes.
Yeah. And then tofu fried rice is really good, and that can be... There are times where I don't know what to make. I will make tofu fried rice, or I'll make fried rice and get, little vegan egg rolls from somewhere. So that's like our mix between like convenience and homemade food to combine the two. But it's super easy.
But the fried rice could be a meal in and of itself.
Yeah.
It's rice, you put the vegetables in it, and then the tofu.
And you add the tofu.
Because it kind of adds the like scrambled egg-ish type of thing to it. And then, I mean, that's a complete meal when you think about it.
It is. It totally is. And
so that's a good one.
Yep. Another one that is good for dinner that it's a little labor intensive, but it ends up being pretty inexpensive is lentils shepherd's pie. It's basically lentils and veggies topped with mashed potatoes and then baked in an oven. It's delicious. It's
very good winter meal.
It's super good winter meal. It's that when you want that like hearty filling meal. That's it.
And then some of our just favorites. We have some of our go-tos that we eat all the time that feed us for $5 or less.
Mac and cheese is one.
Yes, we make a cheese sauce.
Yep.
And then you just pour it over whatever pasta or macaroni you have. You can add broccoli, like steamed broccoli or peas to it to add a vegetable. The cheese sauce is actually made with carrots, potatoes, and sweet potatoes.
And it's a cheese sauce. We like to make sometimes we'll make a batch of the cheese sauce, and it's good on nachos. It's good on mac and cheese. It's good on burgers. It's good on
As we found out
tacos.
the other day.
Yeah, it's so good on burgers. It's good on tacos. It's really, really versatile.
Yeah.
So
that we make tofu scramble a lot.
Yeah.
Which is really easy. There's a recipe on our website, but you can do a lot of different things with it. But it's really good.
Really
and
delicious. Yeah.
Your tofu breakfast bake.
I know you guys love this. I
our
made this
favorite.
up.
And
it's funny because it came around because I wanted something like a tofu scramble, but I didn't want to stand over a hot stove. So I figured out how to make this in one bowl, and then you pour it on your sheet pan and you bake it. And so that recipe, it's got hash browns, veggies, tofu, nutritional yeast, everything but the bagel seasoning. It's delicious. It's literally one of their favorites.
It is.
So
highly recommend it.
And then we top it often. Our favorite is when we top it with green chili and the eggy sauce.
Yeah, the like vegan egg yolk that we make.
That puts you a little over $5 though.
The egg yolk, that'll put you a little over.
That'll put you a little over, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
So
if you can do that. And we have the recipe for that on our website also.
And then also pancakes and tofu bacon is a go-to. We really like that.
Yes. And again, making the pancakes from scratch brings the price way down. The tofu bacon, it's just a block of tofu and
ingredients, spices.
Like a marinade that
a marinade. And homemade pizza.
We make that most Fridays.
Yeah.
Again, crust from scratch, but it's a really easy. It's so easy.
It takes like
ingredients.
10 minutes to make, and like it has very little rise time, and it does the rise perfect. Like it's fantastic.
Bakes in 10 minutes and it's delicious, especially if you use my favorite flour. That I don't get paid to promote, by the way.
Yeah. Sometimes, so just sort of a plain, cheese pizza, but get the cheese on sale, and then you're still somewhere about $5. But then you can add different toppings. We really, really enjoy the Morningstar Italian crumbles on top of our pizza. And we find that a bag of cheese and a bag of those Italian crumbles can make 2 pizzas. We do about half and half, and it seems for the size of pizza we make, it's just the right amount. It's perfect. Yep. And so we get 2 pizzas out of both those bags. So, and then another one is that another meal we really like and go to a lot is enchilada stew. And this is a high carb Hannah recipe.
We'll link all the recipes in the show notes. So every product and recipe that we mention is all in the show notes. You can find everything there. Perfect.
But yeah, we do that. And I like to do it. This is one that I'll even make in the Instant Pot and take like to a potluck or someplace that we're going to be that I know we're going to be there a long time and people are bringing food. So something hearty for us.
And it's one of those one pot meals. You throw everything in the Instant Pot, forget about it.
Yeah. And if you don't have an Instant Pot, you can do it at stovetop also. And it doesn't take very long.
And you don't have to babysit it on the stove.
Just stir it every once in a while. That's it. Next is one of your favorites.
Yes, I love to make green chili stew, especially in the wintertime.
Oh my gosh, when we were sick last year, you were so great, and he made it all the time.
Yeah, so good. I like to use the crumbles, Gardein crumbles for it. It just makes it taste like my childhood.
Yeah.
Um,
Seitan was another one you liked in it.
oh, the little seitan
the
cubes
seitan cubes
go really good in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So either way, but it's mostly, vegetables, chili, broth, and then you put a little of the crumbles or something to add the flavor to it. That still keeps the price down.
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
And then potatoes and peppers is one that's kind of from my childhood. My mom used to make it all the time with kielbasa or Italian sausage. And so you can get vegan versions of those. Tofurky actually makes some fantastic ones. But keeping the price down, just potatoes and peppers together, like red, orange, yellow, green pepper, and some potatoes. And you just saute all that up, or you can roast it in the oven. And it is so good.
It is.
It's so, so good. And then another one that we really enjoy, and I prefer this one in the crock pot because I don't have to babysit it, and then I can put it on in the morning, is roasted potatoes and carrots with mushrooms and onion in a crock pot. You can put it in the oven and roast it normally too. But I don't know. I just like stuff that I can just dump and leave as much as possible, or that, makes it a little easier because we're tired. People are tired. And then, so the roasted potatoes and carrots with mushrooms, and I like onion in it in the crock pot, is delicious. And then I'll make a little gravy. So good.
It is so good.
And then sometimes I'll even make biscuits with it too. And there you go.
Rounds it out.
Yep.
So we've shared more than 15
Yeah, I think
meals, some breakfast, lunch, and dinners, some of our go-tos, our favorites. We'll link all of those, like I said, in the show notes, in the show description. And if you're not seeing them, they're on the podcast page on our website. And if you have any questions about anything or kind of can't find what you're looking for, shoot us an email. We're happy to send that information out. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time on Teach Me How to Vegan. Thanks for joining us. We release new episodes every 2 weeks. You can always email us at plantbased@apnm.org or visit our website at apnm.org/plantbased for classes, recipes, and more resources.
See you in 2 weeks.